There's a new version of Hangouts as well. And we're live. It is EuroAsia Scrum. I was in a Hangout yesterday. They've upgraded the interface, but we're still on the old one. The new one, just finding out about it. Yeah, not even sure how to change it. But ding ding. Yes, updates from me. So I spent the morning looking at local support requests, and yeah, some good feedback for Alexander. I think he's got a bug fix that's ready to go. I've got Jongmin and Yana's pull request ready to show the client for the client meeting today at 2:30. Yes, and no one is screaming about the graders at the moment. So at least if they are screaming about it, I can't hear them. So yeah, but so I mean, I assume that means that the fix that I deployed is being appreciated and used, and they're just too busy enjoying the benefits of having a working grader to worry about it either way. Yeah, so that's yeah, hoping to try and get some reviews looking back on the year for website 1 and local support tomorrow. But yeah, we'll do the last client meeting of the year today, and things pretty okay. Yeah, how about you and the Department of Health, Mr. T?
Department of Health meeting is mañana.
Right.
I haven't really touched it today. I kind of just hands off the keyboard today.
Yeah, no worries.
So I made a couple fixes. I'm waiting for Amazon to yell at me again because of IAM credential that's floating there on GitHub. They don't seem to like it too much.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, we'll see what the client thinks.
Yeah, so you've got some credentials hanging around there, have you, in the GitHub thing? Have you used Python.env before?
I have not.
You might be interested in this. We used the Ruby.env version. It basically provides a framework of associating. You have a .env file associated with your. I'll just put the screen share on here. Associated with your project, and the .env kind of loads. It basically kind of creates a sort of a settings file equivalent to the settings that you get from Heroku. And yeah, I haven't used the Python one, but this looks like this is yeah. I mean, it's relatively up to date and starred by a small number of people. I mean, there may be something else in the Python community that is more popular. But yeah, we've got Django.env there. Yeah, certainly worth a try. We use .env religiously throughout all of our Ruby projects. Ooh, wrong thing. Back to there. That way. There you go. Yeah, I'll just pop that into the Hawaii Do chat. Possible env for solution.
I'll actually take a look into that, because that might actually might work. Yeah. I mean, Amazon's just mad that there's credentials floating out there in the open. So
yeah, absolutely. You'll want to avoid yeah, you want to get set up with that. Cool, right. Okay. Anything else on your mind?
No, that's all for now. Although there'll probably be tons for the Scrum tomorrow morning.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, tomorrow morning your time.
Yeah, good show. Look forward to hearing about it. Yeah, and well, also since we've got a little bit of space today, you were asking about am I on screen share here? I am. You were asking about the PhD in computational sciences, and I was asking you in terms of what your. I mean, the interesting question is what your ultimate goal is. I mean, not that you have to have an ultimate goal. You can just do things that are fun. That's fine. But then it's sort of like, you know. When taking on, you know, a PhD is like a 3-4 year commitment or what have you, and you know, like I would always say, like, do a thing and do it and then find out if you like it. But if you've got some, like, what's the direction that you want to be going in, really, I guess.
I wish I had a solid answer. I mean, I enjoy coding. I enjoy thinking. And computer science is kind of a vessel to do coding and thinking.
Yeah. I mean, I think. Go on.
No. I think that's pretty much the gist of it.
I mean, I think what I was. I mean, for me, I mean, I did a PhD not in computer science, but in cognitive science. I subsequently did a master's in computer science. You know, I think that there's and this is just for me, like from the beginning of sort of setting out as a school child, but one, I think I sort of assumed that teachers were the ones who knew lots of stuff, and that you learn stuff by sort of studying it and researching it, and so like the more to delve deeper and to do more degrees and so on, that means more learning. I think that there's all sorts of incredible learning going on in all sorts of contexts, and I think the particular thing is like doing a PhD in one institution is a very different experience from doing it in another. So, you might go into a PhD environment where it's like what you're doing is very, very circumscribed. Like it's like you will do this and you'll fit in with this thing and there's not much room for maneuver. Or you might be doing it in another place where you have total free reign, but you may also be then working on your own and without necessarily a lot of guidance. I mean, my experience, I think PhDs in the US are a lot more structured and involve a lot more study, and then only a relatively short period from a UK point of view, kind of experimental procedure. But I think what I've realized is that if one wants to get better at programming, then more study is not necessarily the way to do it. I mean, I'm I'm completely, or you may not know, I'm completely biased. I think that the process of repeatedly pairing with different people on programming projects, just on and on, there's a remarkable speed up from my perspective in terms of the acquisition of skills and knowledge into your brain. And again, so it's sort of I think whether it's in an academic context or even in an industry context, like there's a huge range of different academic institutions, there's a huge range of different industry institutions. But for me now, like I would be much more excited to go and like work at GitHub than I would to do a PhD in computer science. Do you know what I mean? Like I think that
absolutely.
Yeah, I think they're in not that there aren't people doing fantastic things with computer science PhDs and they're doing new stuff and so on. And I think particularly if one is a relatively solitary worker, perhaps, and one likes to kind of spend large amounts of time in your own space, not interrupted by other people, then doing something like a PhD can sort of create that space for you. But the academia is sort of hung up around this whole publishing of papers and things. And I think what frustrates me about them is that you can do a lot of like PhDs, and you can build a code edifice of your own that's probably largely untested. You can do it to sort of prove some point, and then you can write lots of papers about it and you can publish them. But there's kind of, and a lot of, and these days, of course, many PhD students will make all of their software available online, and sometimes fantastic projects will come out of them. But it's sort of, I don't know, there's something, there is to me a purity about the open source projects on GitHub and the pull request model, and everybody, it's like, rather than people arguing backwards and forwards, there's like, show me the code, actually get something done. And so I'm much more interested now in for example, like the Rubicop people or the Rig people who've written these, working systems. They're not like proof of concept that like, oh, we can do this one thing, we can speed up this algorithm, which is, it has its own place, but the kind of the active ongoing development and people, whether it's pairing asynchronously or synchronously, this sort of collaborative open source movement and companies that are, riding on that wave, which include, I think, Amazon and Google to a certain extent, and GitHub and so on. Yeah, that's the exciting place to be. And of course, there's many other companies which, to a greater or lesser degree, replicate that exciting model. And so, yeah, a lot of it depends upon, can you find a company or an academic institution that has the right kind of culture that you're going to enjoy being in? Do you know what I mean?
Right, absolutely. I mean, ultimately, I enjoy academia as it is. I think I might be in the wrong region of the world to really go out and explore and really get my feet wet outside of projects I've done, obviously for the Department of Health, and then the few I've touched with Agile. I don't know. I think really what I need to do is just go find a meaningful job. And you're absolutely correct. I agree. The culture, the culture will dictate how enjoyable and how much learning will come from it. I think since I graduated last December, the most I've coded has been in the last 2 months. So, so yeah, I mean, it's kind of a, I don't have to get it, and I'm not going to be upset if I don't get it. It's just kind of a maybe, just kind of float around there for a while.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's definitely. I mean, you know, and I think to the extent that you've got freedom to do, you know, you can easily be applying and looking at programs, and I think it's yeah, you know, like I think Philip Johnson at University of Hawaii is a great, you know, he would be a great person to hook up with for a PhD. I think there are also a few companies. I mean, like I said, there's a boot camp in Hawaii. I mean, there's also increasingly, you know, there's remote work available where you can be involved in, you know, industry projects remotely, which is quite interesting. But yeah, I mean, I think that the thing to do is to keep an open mind and sort of explore options and keep on kind of, to the extent that you can, get tasters of cultures in certain academic departments, in certain, you know, industry groups, and see what opportunities arise, see what takes your fancy, really. And yeah, you know, I mean, I think you could. There's also it's a PhD is always something that you can potentially come back to. You know, I don't know. I mean, I was very focused on avoiding industry and going straight into my PhD because I sort of suspected I kind of knew that once I started earning, then I would probably not want to go back to a student lifestyle, if you know what I mean.
Right.
But it's you know,
right. It's I mean, it's kind of not something that's keeping me up at night. It's just kind of a maybe not. And
yeah.
if I did, what would I want to do with it, or how would I want to apply it, or what would I want to focus on? And
yeah.
so it's just kind of a feeler of what opinions are, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds like a perfectly rational thing to do, and yeah, I mean, so I think I've with rare brevity perhaps managed to express. I think that's pretty much where I'm coming from. But yeah, that's like based on my personal experiences, which are, and I think you know, keep collecting thoughts from different people, and you know, you'll be in a position to make the best opportunity of the advantages. Sorry, take best advantage of the opportunities that come your way.
Right. That's the plan. I mean, ultimately, I think because I got 1 semester left of this grad program, and then I guess it's time to really go hunker down and get a job. But we'll see if that's here in Hawaii, or if I could find something remote, that'd be great. I tend to work a little better by myself. However, pairing virtually is a lot more pleasant than pairing side by side.
Yeah,
and actually that was evident with when we took your class.
Right.
There's still projects I kind of touch up with Nate Martyr and Eric. So
yeah, cool beans. I know Kevin Gu is also he was in touch recently, and he's got a job with a startup. I assume is in Hawaii, but so you might want to reach out to him as well. Yeah,
I was briefly working. It's actually Satsuki's startup.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, he's working for her at the moment, and I was doing stuff for her. She has a lot of weird directions she wants to go in, but I was doing stuff, mobile, educational platform stuff.
Cool.
But I think she's kind of shifted focus to something else. So John Garo's actually working for her too. So
okay, good to know. Good stuff.
Small island.
Absolutely, small world. They tell me. Anyway, I better run. Good to see you, man. I look forward to having a chat tomorrow. Yeah, hearing all about how that meeting went with the client.
Absolutely, and I'll have probably more constructive notes and things that probably need to get pushed forward. So usually Federico listens to the scrum, so he'll probably get more, and then we'll probably discuss on Slack as well.
Okay, nice one. All right, take care, man. I'll see you soon.
Sam.
Bye for now.